Okay, there we go. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Barbara.
I can't hear you. Okay. Now what have I got to do?
Did you call me?
Nope.
Yeah, Hank, I don't hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Raise
I
your
do.
hand if you do. Yeah. Okay. Now,
Stanley, do you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So it's not my transmitting, Barbara, it's your receiving.
I did get a message that the host was not allowing participants to unmute themselves.
I don't
I
know.
don't know what that meant, but
Neither do I. Obviously,
we have ended up being able to unmute ourselves, yes.
Barbara was muted when I first saw her there this morning, but then she unmuted herself and I could hear her, but she can't hear me. Or you, I guess. We'll get a few more people on here and then it'll be more obvious what's working and what's not.
here you go. Ah, shit.
Recording in progress.
Hear me now, Barbara?
Okay, okay.
Ooh, can you hear me?
Yes, but when you,
Okay,
I'm going to
gonna-
shut. I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
close
close
down
down
my
my-
other computer. Okay.
you're on twice and yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that makes an echo. You're still on twice, I think, Barbara.
Okay, I shut that one off.
Okay, I'm still showing you one. Okay. See what, oh, I know. Okay.
Hi, Sammy. We can see you, but you're muted. There you are. Now you're not muted.
Okay, now. Let me leave.
Barbara, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, Steve now?
Yes, and I can hear you.
Oh, good, okay. I got a camera hooked up on my desktop, so I was checking that, but I'm still missing the volume, the microphone, so.
Is the microphone built into the camera?
Well, I'm not sure. I just kind of got a loaner on the camera. It just said webcam, Logitech.
Do you have a different microphone?
There's probably, I don't know whether there's one built into the desktop or not. I got to play with it some more. I just got this yesterday.
Well, there's one somewhere because we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, but
okay.
that's
I'm on
on
my-
the, is that a laptop you're on now, Barbara?
Yeah, I'm back on my laptop.
Oh, I didn't understand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Before you
Yeah.
came on, Saul, she was having trouble, I forget, hearing me or I was
I
up.
couldn't, yeah, I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, I could hear you when you said something, but
Right. Okay. Well, at least I can attend the meeting today.
it wasn't a microphone problem on your end. I think it was a speaker problem. Do you have speakers on your desktop?
Yeah, I got speakers.
Maybe the volume was turned way down.
Ah, could be. Okay. Well, I won't disrupt the meeting by trying it again.
That's
Yeah, my speakers weren't working either. I had to go in and change the source. But the source was correct earlier, but I don't know, something changed. I don't know how it could have changed on Zoom unless Zoom sends it to a different speaker system.
Well, it did ask me something about speakers. Use the.
Saul, can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
Good.
My phone is so old that it's almost dead. And my daughter kindly is purchasing a new one long distance for me. And
Oh.
it'll be sent in the mail, I assume. Now, when I set it up, can I do that by myself? Transfer my info?
I would think it should be possible. I don't actually know how to do
I
that,
can't
but
hear you.
you can't hear me?
Why can't
I
I
hear
you?
Saul.
I hear
I'm
some.
not muted.
No, it wouldn't be muting the microphone. It's your speakers. But if you can't hear me saying this, it doesn't help.
I can't hear.
Can you hear me, Sammy?
Can you hear
I'm not
anybody?
muted.
Can you hear anybody, Sammy?
What else should I do?
You can put it in chat, whatever you have to say to her.
You can change your speaker settings, Sammy. I don't know. You probably can't hear us talk. Can other people hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, I
we-
can hear you, Will.
Okay, all right. I had to go in and change my speaker settings for some reason in order to listen to people. My normal ones didn't work. Hank, is there a speaker setting for Zoom?
I don't know. There are,
It's under the audio controls where the microphone icon is on your Zoom app on the far bottom left corner usually.
For
yes.
some reason, I have no sound
Yeah, we can hear you okay, Sammy.
and I'm not on mute.
Can hear you.
Let's see. Let's see if I have an email for Sammy.
May-
Say,
Maybe Dan would like to make a comment here. He has his virtual hand up.
Yes, I can hear you very well, but I have buttons on my keyboard that will raise and reduce the sound level. I don't know if she has buttons on her keyboard or not. The top row of the keyboard.
Yeah, if it's a laptop, they will have that. And there'll also be one to mute the speakers, which might be having them off.
Yes, that is correct.
Aren't you gonna have to put all this in the chat if you want her to know about it, since she's not hearing us?
I have sent stuff in the chat directly to her for her eyes only.
Oh, okay, secret
Oh.
stuff, all right.
It's called direct messaging.
Well, some of us might need that info later on,
We can hear you and you can hear us, Patricia.
I know.
And you just heard what Dan said and what I said.
For now. Actually, I gotta call Fran.
Saul, on my chat window, I only have everybody and Hank and you. So the two hosts are available, but individual chats is not available to just guests.
That's
Seems
correct.
to me, yeah.
It is a restriction of the APCUG Zoom account.
Yep, that's fine.
Are you going to enable closed caption?
Okay, yeah, hold on. Live transcript. I'm just enabling right now. Okay, I just tried to I sent Sammy an email. Telling her, try something, but she probably won't get it till after the meeting. We'll see.
Oh, why doesn't she just start all over? That's usually, if you call for help, that's the first thing they tell you to do is, shut down, start over and all that stuff.
The problem is she can't hear anything that anyone says. So we can
Oh, well,
make suggestions to her.
okay. All right. Let's see.
What time is it? It is 10:29. All right, another 5 minutes before we'll probably
I'll put it in the chat.
thoroughly start. We only have 10 people here. Nobody needs to know how to charge their cell phone today?
Oh, well, it's always interesting stuff about that.
Okay.
Sammy, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Aha, what?
Dumb me didn't have the, whatever I punched at the bottom there. It's okay now. I got it. I made it louder.
Good.
Hank, you got my note about what's going on here with the new class that's formed. Yes? Okay. I haven't personally been able to go, so I have no idea what it's about, but I imagine it's good.
Yeah,
Well-
Sammy, what is happening at Wesley?
Well, we have started a new class on all kinds of problems. If you have any problems with your phone, with your computer, whatever, laptop, they will help you up there. And I think it's once a week. Unfortunately, I've been confined, to my home. My surgery was postponed because my blood pressure hit the ceiling. Now we've rescheduled it for October. So hopefully I'll be able to get out and about. I don't know. But anything new, I always let Hank know.
And I try to pass it on, but
Well, is there a better way I can send that? Send a message?
no, I don't think so.
No.
You could maybe send it to both me and Stanley.
You and Stanley, okay?
Yeah, Stan's the president of the seniors computer group.
He's too nosy. He wants to know everything. Yeah. Well,
Who?
Thank you for that, Sammy. I appreciate it.
You got your
I
hand
get a
up.
lot of that, surprisingly enough. It must be my personality.
your personality's fine, my darling. It's fine.
Oh, I thought I was nosy.
I'm just making funnies. That's all. Those are my Saturday morning funnies.
Okay, along with the Saturday morning funnies, I have not a funny. I have a friend, a longtime friend, who is recently at Wesley Palms.
Uh-huh.
Don, and his last name escapes me. Anyway, he's a gentleman, lives alone, I believe, and has recently gone to Wesley Palms. Don Alvarez, a former scientist at what is now called, I realize by reading the local paper, Naval Base Point Loma,
No.
which is a conglomeration of all of the military units on Point Loma, and including the brig at Miramar, is now called Naval Base Point Loma. It's
That's
all under
too
one
much
command.
intelligentsia for me. So again, I'm not, getting out and about to meet anyone. So I just haven't met. We've got mega new residents, lots of them. But I do remember the name. I do remember it. Yeah.
Hey, Stan, what was it called before?
What
Well,
was
when I started, it was Naval Electronics Laboratory.
Oh, yeah,
In
NELC,
19
yeah.
NEL, yeah.
But that was just one part of
yes.
actually
That's,
NOSC.
yes, that's true.
I was the second in command at NOSC for 3 years, just after they combined with what was it called down at the
Naval Undersea Center.
yeah
Well, what is
Center,
the,
San Diego.
what is Spa
In fact,
Wars?
there's a big celebration today downtown for I think it's the 100th anniversary
That's right, I thought that.
of downtown, base.
Spa Wars
That-
has
we've
changed
got the,
name also, haven't they?
The flying angels we've got today too.
My first job when we moved to San Diego was at the Admiral Kidd Officers Club on the base. And my father used to kid me because I used to get saluted when I went to the gate.
Oh, lucky you, Barb. Lucky you.
Hey, Barb, that was just a sticker on your car.
I know.
A wonderful memory. That's lovely.
They were saluting your car.
I know. Well, I'll take it.
They don't do that anymore. A car won't get you in the gate of any place anymore. You have an ID card and
Oh,
pull it
yeah.
out and show it.
Very strict, extremely strict. Yeah.
If I could,
Stanley, while I think of it, listening to Sammy and things about things going on at Wesley Palms, I'd like you to put on the next agenda for the board meeting, returning to not returning to Wesley Palms.
Okay. I'll put something like that in there.
Thanks.
And if I could, now that Sammy can hear us, answer the question she was asking long ago, like seems like yesterday, about transferring information from her old phone to her new phone. I have not done that. I think you might be able to do that on your own. If not, you can call me.
I will.
Okay.
I will. When I
Is
get
it-
it, I'll
is it
look it
an-
over, look at the video, and if I need help, I will call you.
Is
So
it
one
an
other
Android?
thought,
Is it an Android or an iPhone?
No, it's an iPhone.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
Now, you might have
So-
to go back to your provider and have them do it.
No,
Yeah.
you really
Oh,
don't need to.
would AT&T send a tech out to
No.
me?
Ross, go ahead, Ross.
Okay, so with an Apple phone, you should have everything backed up to iCloud on your phone.
Mhm.
And you can verify that by calling Apple and say, I need help with, and say, making sure my cell phone is backed up to iCloud. The only hesitation or problem it might be is that you don't have enough space that you're paying for at Apple. They give you 5 gig for free. To go to 50 gig, it's $1 a month. To go to 200 gig, it's $2 a month. So it's really cheap. Once you do that and you have all your devices, your desktop computer, your laptop computer, your phone backed up to iCloud, going to a new device is when you set up the new device, whichever Apple device it is, one of the first questions they ask you is, what is your Apple ID? When you give them the Apple ID, they will automatically download everything that was on the old device to the new device.
Oh, okay.
And again, Apple can help you with this over the phone. I would recommend that versus any of the cell phone stores.
Okay. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
That's-
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I can't get to a store right now.
I understand. But I mean, when you go to the store, their job is to sell you,
Mhm.
not to help you.
I've already been sold, so of
Yeah, but there's something more that you would be able to buy.
course.
That's, you need to
Always.
upgrade. You need.
I know. No, I don't need.
Good.
Well, we have 19 people and it is 10:38. So I think I will get ready to start the presentation for this morning. First thing I will do is mute you all. Is there anyone who's having a Zoom problem? I try to ask that question every time before we get into a presentation. I don't see anybody arm waving or head shaking or other. So I will mute all. And then I will, I hope, whoops, that's not like that. I will share screen, maybe. Nope, hold on.
Hank, if you do have your captions showing, you could turn those off before you share your screen so they don't block the presentation.
Let's see, where is there it is. If I say something, it shows up.
If you click the caret to the right of the live transcript button, you'll get a little pop-up menu, and the top one will be to hide the captions or subtitles, they call them.
Wait a minute. Where are we? I think I have to go to more and then live transcript. Say again. Saul?
So there should be a live transcript button on the Zoom control bar, like where the mute and the video and all that stuff is. Should be one called live transcript with a CC logo in it. And for the host, it has a little caret in the upper right corner, much like the microphone and the camera buttons. And if you click on that as the host, you'll get the same menu the rest of us get. And it'll have three choices. And the top one be to hide subtitles.
I can't find it. Usually what I can find is, wait a minute, maybe if I make that bigger. Yeah, there we go. Now, if I click, there we go. There's live transcript, and to the right of that is a caret and hide subtitles. There we go. It's gone. Okay, now. Here we go. Select the right thing to share and go full screen and start.
You should always let your iPhone battery reach 0 before you charge it up. Charging your iPhone overnight is bad for it, and you should always charge on airplane mode. Be honest, how many of those claims have you heard? And better still, how many have you believed? Well, not surprising, there are a lot of claims out there regarding the charging of iPhone batteries, but how many of them are true? That's what I'm going to try and find out in this video. I'm going to look at 10 common claims regarding the charging of iPhone batteries and find out whether they're true or false. Stick with me to the end of the video. I reckon there's going to be at least one claim in here that you can officially stop worrying about. Okay, let's get into it. Charging your phone overnight isn't good for it. This is a bit of a classic, really, isn't it? I think we've all heard this at one point or another, this idea that we should only ever be charging our phone when we're able to keep an eye on it and remove it from charge the second that it's full for fear of it somehow overloading. Quite simply, any quality modern device like a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop or a smartwatch is not going to overcharge, even if you leave it on the charger overnight. Your iPhone has the smarts to know when your battery is full, and it will essentially stop charging at that point. And if the battery depletes sufficiently enough while the phone is
I paused this for just a minute because I want to say that, as I understand it, almost all of the things he says here about iPhone batteries are true for Android phone batteries as well.
Still on the charger, it will then charge again to top it up. In fact, if you've recently picked up your iPhone in the middle of the night whilst it's charging, you might notice that it now uses optimized charging. This is where the phone will immediately begin charging when you plug it in. But if it knows that you've got it plugged in overnight, and if the phone knows that your routine is usually to sleep until, say, 7 a.m., the phone will only charge to around 80% initially, and then finish off charging much closer to your waking up time. This not only means that your phone is full and ready to go in the morning, it means that rather than blasting the battery with a full high-speed charge very quickly, it can charge it much more gradually, which is better for the battery's overall health. If you want to see whether you've got this feature enabled, head to Settings, then Battery Health, and ensure that Optimized Battery Charging is enabled. Notice here that you can also see the current maximum capacity or chemical health of your battery. You shouldn't charge your phone under your pillow. This is true, but not necessarily for the reason that you might expect. Let's put concerns about your phone with all its radioactivity being that close to your head overnight to one side for a moment. The process of recharging a phone battery generates heat. Not enough heat to set fire to your bedding. If that's happening, you've got a faulty phone or battery, but heat nevertheless. Heat is the #1 enemy of modern lithium-ion batteries and can cause severe permanent damage to it. This is the main reason why you should never leave your iPhone sitting out in the hot sun, and why your iPhone will warn you if it begins to reach a dangerous temperature level. And whilst it might not reach those same temperatures when charging under your pillow, prolonged exposure to that kind of temperature is really not good for the battery at all, and is a guaranteed way to reduce its lifespan. To be fair, extreme heat isn't good for any part of your phone, so leaving your phone out in the sun is just something you should avoid at all costs. If you're charging your phone overnight, do so in a place where it's got plenty of room for airflow. Sitting on your bedside table or a charging pad should be more than sufficient, and don't cover it with anything. If the screen lighting up is an issue for you, either change the phone settings to have it not disturb you, or just sit it with the screen facing down rather than up. The cable you're using doesn't matter. This isn't true. Technically, any cable with the right connector can charge your phone, but just because something can do something doesn't mean that it should. You wouldn't apply the same logic to your brake pads for your car or windows for your house. There are certain products where you really need them to be up to a certain standard, even if it means paying a little bit more. This doesn't mean that you have to buy official Apple cables, by the way. Apple do charge a premium, but you should also avoid the absolute bargain basement cables unless they're coming from a reputable manufacturer or retailer. You need to know that the cable you're using is MFI certified. MFI stands for Made for iPhone, and it's an Apple licensing program that covers all manner of iPhone peripherals. An MFI certified product will be allowed to display the badge on their packaging, and when it comes to a charging cable, it means that the cable can pass power to your phone correctly without risk of it overcharging. MFI cables aren't expensive in the grand scheme of things, so whilst it can be tempting to go for the absolute cheapest cables that you can, I'd advise you not to. You should fully discharge your battery each time before charging. The need for fully discharging your battery is another popular battery myth, and simply isn't the case these days thanks to the type of battery that phones use. There are lots of different types of batteries out there. Some nickel-cadmium batteries, for example, should be nearly completely discharged before charging them up again, while lead-acid batteries should never be fully discharged. Thankfully, lithium-ion batteries, the type found in modern phones, are much more forgiving and built for the kind of charging and discharging patterns you'd expect from a regular consumer. So long as you're following the other battery advice, things like not allowing them to overheat, using certified cables and chargers with them, you can charge your phone fully overnight if you like, or you can plug in for 10 minutes for a quick top-up right before you go out, or a combination of all these things. It really doesn't matter. The battery in your phone has been built to work around you and not the other way around. You should charge using airplane mode. This one isn't true, but it's also not false as such. The belief here is that charging on airplane mode will allow you to charge your phone much faster than charging it in regular mode, and this isn't entirely false. Airplane mode essentially shuts down all of the wireless communication features of your device, so no Wi-Fi, no cellular connection, and as your phone is typically constantly looking to create and maintain Wi-Fi and cellular connections whilst it's powered on, this will reduce some of the power usage of the phone. The charge coming into the phone isn't any more powerful, it's just that the incoming power isn't being offset by power usage as much. But if you really want to charge your phone up more quickly, say in an emergency, a much more effective way to do this would be to power off your phone and charge it with the power off. Because even in airplane mode, your phone is still using power. Power for the screen, power for any apps that might be running or apps you have running in the background. An analogy would be filling a bucket of water and the bucket has a number of holes. If airplane mode plugs one of those holes, the bucket will fill up faster, but if there are still some other holes, you're still going to lose water. It's only by plugging all the holes that you'll be able to really take advantage of all of the water you're pouring in, and that's kind of the case with your phone and charging it. But even then, it's generally considered that with a good, fast charger, unless you're power using your phone at the same time that you're charging it, you should be able to quickly charge your phone up without the need to put it into airplane mode. Keep in mind, airplane mode basically renders the phone element of your phone useless, and you have to question whether it's worth it just to slightly speed up your charging. If it is, power the phone off, give it a rapid charge, then power it back on. Batteries have a memory. This is kind of the same belief as the belief that batteries must always be fully discharged. It just isn't true with modern lithium-ion batteries. Where some people get mistaken is mixing up battery memory with battery health. You can find out your battery health by going into your iPhone settings, choosing battery, and then battery health. My iPhone 13 Pro, purchased about 7 months ago, still has 100% battery health, which is excellent. But if I was leaving this out in the sun all day, perhaps using dodgy cables with it, that figure could have dropped. If this was, say, 80%, that just means that I've got 80% battery capacity to play with compared to the 100% that I had when it was new. So if a new battery would give me 10 hours of constant use, that figure purely for illustrative purposes, then I would expect to get only 8 hours off of a full charge when I've got 80% capacity. But this aging process is unfortunately entirely normal. You can see Apple allude to it here when they talk about your iPhone battery chemically aging. Your battery has a limited number of charge cycles in it before it can't charge anymore, which is why if you have a particularly old iPhone, you're going to notice that it isn't lasting as long as it did when you first got it, no matter how careful you might have been with regard to charging it. When you reach this point, the best thing you can do is swap out your phone, and a brand new phone will of course have a brand new battery. Or if that's not an option for you, a battery swap would also be a good solution, and there are companies out there that can help you with this. You should use low power mode all the time. This is another myth that is more of an opinion answer than an absolutely factual answer, but I'm going to call this one false. You don't need to use low power mode all the time. Low power mode is exactly what it sounds like. It will switch your phone into a mode where it impacts a number of the power-hungry features of your phone. According to Apple themselves, this includes 5G data, auto lock, display brightness, display refresh rate, some visual effects, iCloud photo syncing, automatic downloads, email fetch, and background app refresh. You might be perfectly fine with some of these being disabled, but many of these features are what makes the iPhone experience so good, so it would be a shame to routinely switch them all off. I guess the comparison would be in buying a Porsche, but installing a limiter that stops it from going over 20 miles an hour. Low power mode is designed to eke out the last bit of power that your phone has, which is why Apple will suggest you switch it on once your phone reaches 20 or 10% of power. It's there to help keep your phone running for just that little bit longer until you can get it plugged in to charge. Also, keep in mind that once you reach 80% of charge, low power mode will automatically switch off, so you can see that from Apple's perspective, this isn't a feature that they expect you to have on all the time. You can save battery by closing apps. This is another myth. Quite the opposite is generally true. The theory behind this is that phones that have apps running in the background are having to dedicate battery to those apps, and so if you have 10 or 20 apps running in the background, that's 10 or 20 lots of power from your battery that's being dedicated to running apps that you're not actively using, so closing them down would save you some battery life. The reality is that your iPhone is built for multitasking, and in general, it's very good at putting those background apps into a low power, near idle state. Essentially, those apps aren't running in the same way that the app that you're currently using on your iPhone is, but when you swipe on your phone to move from an active app to a background app, your phone has that background app in a state that makes it very easy for it to spring to life. For you, the user, the experience feels like all of the apps are constantly running, so the fact that they aren't is irrelevant to you. This is actually one of those myths where the opposite is true. Opening up apps is the thing that requires the most power usage, and so constantly closing your apps down and then opening them up again can use more of your battery life, not less. Think of it like an oven or a kettle. In general, it takes more electricity to heat your oven up or boil a kettle of water than it does to simply maintain a high temperature. A professional kitchen will heat up their oven and then hold them at that temperature for the duration of the shift because it doesn't make energy efficient sense to keep powering something on, waiting for it to heat up, powering it off, and then repeating the process. So yeah, use your apps as you wish. Your phone's built-in multitasking smarts has got you covered. You can force quit an app if something goes wrong with it, but other than that, you're good. You shouldn't use your phone while it's charging. This is kind of a myth. The truth element of this comes from the fact that when your phone is charging, especially if it's fast charging, that fast charge is putting some stress on the phone and the battery. If you use your phone while it's plugged in, most phones will automatically default to a low power charge mode to allow the phone to continue drawing the power that it needs to do what you want it to do while it's charging. You're absolutely fine to use your phone while it's charging. You're not going to be putting yourself at any risk, nor are you damaging your battery. The only real consequence that you're going to face is that your battery isn't going to charge as quickly as it might if you simply plug it in, leave it alone, and allow it to fast charge. But ultimately, you're the consumer, it's your phone, and you should use it how you wish, so I really wouldn't worry too much about this. Fast charging kills your battery. Again, another myth. Fast charging has gone from being a kind of, oh, by the way, we have fast charging feature a few years ago, to a major, significant, almost deal-breaker feature of modern smartphones, and for good reason. The latest iPhones are essentially insanely powerful computers that you carry around with you in your pocket, and with each year, their capabilities become even more impressive. Consumers would be more than happy with more powerful, longer-lasting batteries, provided that doesn't equal a thicker phone. And whilst battery tech is improving all of the time, an area that manufacturers have realized that they can make improvements on and increase consumer satisfaction is charge time. If you can get to the point where a battery can be fully charged from 0% to 80% in only 10 minutes, battery capacity suddenly isn't so much of an issue. You could power use your phone all day long, then plug in for a quick charge while you have a coffee. Plus, the charge on your iPhone isn't that fast, certainly not compared with what some other phone manufacturers are doing right now. The iPhone 13 Pro can charge at up to 27 watts with a compatible charger, and tests have shown that a Pro Max phone can charge from empty to full in around 90 minutes at this speed, which is quick. But when you consider that there are phones like the Vivo IQ7, which features 120 watt charging and can go from empty to full in 18 minutes, you realize that Apple are moving along carefully with this. Apple sell millions of iPhones, and it really isn't in their interest at all to sell phones where the battery seriously degrades each time you charge it. Part of the technology behind this is the same kind of technology that stops phones from overcharging. With fast charging, your iPhone will automatically receive a charge in different phases. The first phase of the charge is the higher voltage phase, charging your battery from anywhere from 50 to 80% capacity very quickly, which does generate some extra heat and put some stress on the battery. But for the remaining part of the charge, your phone will switch to a slower trickle charge phase, massively reducing the stress on the battery for that part of the charge, keeping the charge process both safe and healthy for your battery. It's why you'll often see a notification informing you of exactly how long you've got left in your current charge cycle and what time the iPhone will be fully charged by. Your phone is smart enough to be able to calculate exactly how long the charge is going to take. So fast charge away, and as and when Apple release even faster charging iPhones, you can be pretty confident that they will have done their homework prior to launching the phones. So there you go, 10 claims about battery charging, with my thoughts on whether or not there's something you need to worry about. I think the main takeaway throughout all of this is that ultimately you're the consumer, it's your phone, and you should use it how you like. Phone manufacturers like Apple know this, and they build their devices around your usage habits. They don't expect you to significantly change what you do to work for them. Use your phone how and when you want to use it, charge it how and when you want to charge it, and trust that your phone is smart enough to be able to take care of itself. What about you? How often do you charge your phone? Or are there any battery charging myths or tips that I've not included here? Drop me a comment and let's talk about it. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video. In general, your iPhone is configured to work perfectly well, right?
Good grief, where are you? Can't seem to find.
So Hank, where did you get that? That was a very good one. Where did you get that? I don't think we've seen that guy before.
Do you want me to help you stop sharing, Hank?
Yeah. Oh, that's the problem. I need to stop sharing. Thank you. Let me see. Hold on. I have a thing called videos to be screened for senior computer group settings, and it tells me where I get.
It was very good. I think that was very helpful.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's called Proper Honest Tech. And I think that is the only one that I have found. Let me see what happens if I click on that. Yeah, maybe not.
You mentioned all the myths that we do here, which was great, and then answered them, which is super.
Hold on.
He spoke slowly so we could follow him.
What's say?
He spoke slowly so we could follow him easily. Some speakers go too fast.
Yeah. Let me go back to Let me go back to the here we go. I'm going back to this. Here we go.
Please let your
There. Proper, honest tech. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing. Hold on.
We did hear you though.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'm sharing again. Now you can see me. Here is this organization called Proper, Honest Tech. And if I open that link in a new tab, there we go. 112,000 subscribers is the home here, and it's videos. Here are also everything you need to know about iMessages. Should you buy an iPhone 14 this year? These are the sorts of things that are available. But all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Proper, Honest Tech.
Okay.
Be able to see what that is available. I recommend that you wander around on YouTube. I've been recommending this for years, but every time I get a new chance, I'll do it again. All right, all. I think it's time for Q&A. Will, are you still here? Yes, you are. So, Stanley, is your hand up for Q&A?
Yes, it is, relating to the topic. I added that I have the Android Pixel 6 Pro, and it's a late model, and it had all of the features I think he was talking about, particularly the adaptive charging, as they call it, overnight charging. You have to insert your bedtime and wake up time, or they know it somehow, and they charge slowly or through the night, the way he described, I'm sure. So they are using that. So I suspect it's true of almost all late model Android or iPhone. So that's all I got.
Ross, would you agree with me and Stanley that most of the things that he said about the iPhone are true?
Yes, from what I've seen, yes. The only thing that he alluded to, though, is what I do with my Google phone is I wirelessly charge it. And if you wirelessly charge it, that slows down that process. So your phone won't get as hot if it's wirelessly charging. Now, it can take longer to charge because of that. But since I plug mine into my Wi-Fi charger, wireless charger, every night, I'm not it's all charged when I'm ready, when I want to use it in the morning. I don't say, okay, I charged it yesterday, I'm not going to charge it today. I don't do any of that. I just plug it in every night and use it. And I expect that the battery should last a long time. Now, the battery should last 3-ish years for most devices. You can get the battery replaced. There's a chain in town called U-Break iFix. They're a pretty good service for most devices. Apple can do it too, but they won't touch some of the older devices. But for around $100 or $50 to $100, you can get your battery replaced. But again, if your phone is 3 years old or more, doesn't have 5G, it's really kind of time to get a new phone. That's all.
Thank you.
Hey, Ross, got it.
Yes, Will?
Ross, question about wireless charging. Was that built into the phone, or did you have to add something to the phone?
So my Google Pixel 5 did not have wireless charging. So from Amazon, I bought a little plug with a pad that goes on the back of the phone to pick up the wireless. And then I bought a wireless charger again from Amazon. The whole thing cost me about $25, I think. And then that's how I charge it. To me, in the past, one of my weak points on the phone has been the connector that you charge with. And when I would plug it in and out every day. Now, the USB-C is what almost all of the phones have now, and that's supposed to have fixed most of those issues of reliability of the connector. But yes, I upgraded my phone to be wireless charging.
Hey, Pat, can I just make a comment relative to that first?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
sure, go right ahead.
Okay, here is what I have done with my phone, and we've talked about this before, but there is a magnetic connector that you can buy through Amazon.
Yep.
Which you don't have to plug in. You just bring the magnetic charger close to this thing that stays plugged into your phone, into the C connector. And so you're not actually plugging anything in. And I found that solves a lot of problems, because usually the connector is one of the things that wears out on any
Right.
device that you have. So I've replaced all of my C connectors with these magnetic connectors, and you can buy them for, I don't know, like 15 bucks or so, and get a whole package of them. I think Stan uses the same thing, right, Stan?
He's showing.
Yes, I was just holding up my magnetic wireless charger. I have two of them. This is a flat one that lays on my desk by the computer, and I have one on a little stand by my bedstead. So while I'm working on the computer, I'm wirelessly charging my phone. And while I'm sleeping, I'm wirelessly charging my phone. And I have the magnetic connector that Will was referring to.
You know, the only thing that I would recommend that most people put onto their phone is some kind of a rubber protector around it. So if it falls and strikes on the edge, that the screen doesn't shatter. And as long as your adapter then will fit through a hole, you might have to, kind of customize the rubber adapter or the plastic one to do that.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, I think we're ready to get on to
Pat has her hand up. Yeah.
Oh,
Tricia.
actually, what happens with mine is I have an original question, then everybody else has their questions, and then I have a question to tack on to that. But if you're doing, I usually do the wired actually charging, because I do the backup. So while you're doing this wireless charging, is it backing up? Because I was under the impression you had to be plugged in to back up.
Back up to where? Is that to your iCloud?
Yeah.
Then that's through your wireless connection to the phone for your internet, which is different than the wireless charging of the phone. The wireless charging of the phone is just electricity going to the phone, where when you are connected through Wi-Fi, that's when all of your backup is being done through iCloud.
Okay, but I thought that was that third component. Okay.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. You do not have to have it plugged in if you're backing up to iCloud and you configured your phone to say, yes, I will allow backups to iCloud through wireless. There is a provision in there that says, no, don't do that, because if you don't say have Wi-Fi at home and you're charged for data, then your backup information is data to the cell phone company, and they will charge you for that. But if you're connected to your wireless network internet at home, you have no charge for that.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
Hey, Patricia,
Yep.
you're done?
Okay. All right.
Sandy.
Yeah, the other one would be, other question would be off topic. So if everybody's still doing this cell charging, I'll wait.
Oh, you've got a regular Q&A question.
Yes.
Those of you who have your hands up, Sammy and Barbara, would you wave your hand if it is about cell phone charging? Okay, we're all into Q&A. So you go ahead, Patricia.
Okay, my question has to do with Wi-Fi extenders, actually. And I recently got some extra solar panels put in, but they had to put in another monitoring device.
Yep.
And that used, in order to connect, for some reason or other, they had to use the Wi-Fi extender.
Okay.
So the Wi-Fi extender is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I'm all connected. It's all, producing and all this kind of stuff. And I do get, I haven't checked my phone yet today, or actually the computer today, to see if everything is working okay. But according to Netgear, that, gizmo is supposed to be lit up where it says LED device. It should be green, but it's on red. So I'm just wondering, is that, I'm getting connected, but I'm wondering, does that mean something or what?
Well, are you connecting to that device? What's the name of that Wi-Fi from that device is my first question. You have your Wi-Fi that's there and it has a name. If the Netgear has a different name for its SSID or wireless network name, then you need to see if that's available and if you connect to it. A red LED on something like that is generally not a good thing to me.
Okay.
So
All right. Now I can see what I'm connected with. I don't see their, well, I guess maybe look on their net. Well, yeah, I see it there. Okay, so if it's working under my Wi-Fi, should I connect to this other one or not?
Depends on
To
what
ask
is
that
your,
question again, Patricia, your audio was kind of sputtering.
I think I understand her question. She's wondering if she should use the new Wi-Fi that was set up for her solar panels. To me, it's whether or not you need to. In other words, if you have good Wi-Fi signal, and you can see that on your phone by the number of bars that you have in the little funnel shape, if that's full, wherever you go in your house, then you don't need to connect to this other Wi-Fi. Now, the solar panels up on the roof is some distance away. That's why they probably had to put their Wi-Fi extender on there to connect to it. Can you connect to that? Sure, there's no technology reason why you can't. You need to know what that Wi-Fi network's name is and what the password is. And that's generally on the Wi-Fi device. It will tell you my SSID name is, my password is. So it'll show you on that device. But they put it in, they are setting it up for use to their solar. I wonder if they're going to be willing to help you connect your cell phone to that. That's not part of their job, I don't think.
So Pat, did you install a
Yeah.
net?
Well,
Did you-
actually, yeah, they did. Yeah, actually, they connected it and set it up.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
so again,
that
but
we
that's,
haven't had to, I haven't had to use it, and I'm looking. Okay. So if it's just connected to them, I can only use it for, the solar panels. I can't use the Wi-Fi extender for anything in my house then.
that's up to
I have
you
the
and them.
Wi-Fi
And again,
extender in my house already in the living room.
do you need to use that? Do you get good Wi-Fi
You're
throughout your
breaking
house?
up now too.
I'm sorry, your question again? You're breaking up pretty bad, Pat.
No, that was it. Yeah, you are breaking up too. I don't know what's going on here.
So Pat, let me ask a question. Did they install the Netgear?
Yes.
Wi-Fi extender. We
Yeah,
purchased it
they
and
did.
installed it,
yeah,
and it's halfway between your modem and the panels, I presume.
right, right.
You should be able to use that.
Yeah, for some reason or other, it's not connecting, but I'm still getting a reading, so I'm thinking they said it's okay as long as I'm getting a reading. But that was basically my question. I guess I don't have to connect to that. According to Ross, as if I'm understanding it correctly, then I don't have to connect to that as long as I'm getting the other one. So that was, just
Right.
want to make sure everything's working right.
It's like saying you have a second light in the house. If you have one that's already working, you don't need a second one. The second one's okay, but you don't need to connect to the other one if you're getting to the internet from your devices that need wireless.
Okay, that's the second question. Now, if I don't get the connection through the main Wi-Fi and I have to use the other one, am I going to, will I get the rest of the Wi-Fi? In other words, my phone and everything else that comes through Wi-Fi? Am I going to have to do something about that? Or will that Wi-Fi extender connect to that stuff too?
Every device you have to connect separately. So if you have a tablet, you can connect it to either or both Wi-Fis, and your cell phone, you can connect to either or both Wi-Fi devices also. And you can leave them there in the configuration, and whichever one is stronger is the one it's supposed to connect to.
Okay, so I'd have to go into each individual and look at the
Yes,
Wi-Fi setting.
and
Okay.
there's no other way for that device to know what the password is and what the Wi-Fi signal name is that you want to connect to.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's another question. I guess I have to change all my Wi-Fi passwords in every device that's connected to Wi-Fi.
No, you don't have to change anything. You just have to add the new Netgear in.
No, it's added in, but I need to, because, the password's been compromised, I have to change the password on every single device, I guess, that uses it.
Well, that's
What
a
is this
completely
about
different
a
subject.
compromised password? That's a new subject, isn't it?
No, I know that part I know.
Or are you saying if it was compromised?
Well, I know it was, so now I have to change it. I just don't want to, that's all, because it's like everything in the house, so.
Well,
But that's okay. I know how to do that, so that's fine.
Okay.
All right, I think it's time to move on to Sammy.
My question is, our photos today are all clear and sharp, except for Saul. Why is his all fuzzy?
Because my laptop computer is very old and the camera built into it is not very sharp. Now I do have a USB camera I could put on here and make me really sharp, just like the rest of you, but I didn't think it was that important.
Okay,
so
I was just curious.
You're so handsome, we can tell just from even a little haze over it.
So I think if it was darker in your room, then it would be better, because if that's what's happening is the light from the outside is flooding the camera. But I had another lady who I was working with who said that during the day, her camera doesn't work well, but at night it works just fine. Again, she was getting too much light directly in on the camera.
Yeah, my lighting crew didn't show up today.
There you go.
Barbara.
Okay, since we're discussing charging, is it good practice to leave your laptops plugged in all the time to keep them charged? Or should they be disconnected for a period of time?
Well,
Ross?
as the gentleman mentioned, most new devices are looking at the charge level in your battery. If it needs to be charged, then it goes to a higher charge rate and then gets the battery charged. Once it gets up to full charge, then it goes down to a very low rate. So no, you do not need to unplug any devices that have a battery in them if they're newer than, probably 10 years at this point, that they should automatically go to a low charge rate and don't worry about it.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
I see no more hands.
I want to make a comment for Pat. She mentioned that she thought her password had been compromised. Is that true, Pat? And if so, what are you doing about it?
Well, when they set up the system, they had to know my password. So, they know my password. So now I'm
Okay.
trying to change it. That's all.
What do you mean? The people that did your solar panels
Right. Right.
learned your password. That's probably not dangerous.
Well, probably not, but just to be on the safe side.
But that's
But
different from a password being compromised and you're notified that it has been compromised by.
Not the same.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, nothing like that. That's just
Okay.
somebody knows my password, so I figure maybe I should
Yeah.
change it.
Well, Pat, even if you change the password, they will have to know that. So
No,
won't they?
no.
Well,
That's why they
needed to
put in
know
their
it.
own device.
Yeah.
They tried to connect her Wi-Fi to their solar panels and it didn't work because it was too far or too weak. So they came up with their own device and put it in there. And
So
that's what they're using for the solar panels.
So Ross, are you saying that they're going to have to know that password anyway?
Exactly the opposite.
Oh, okay.
If
That's
they put in the Netgear device so that they could communicate to their solar panels. And you could unplug all the rest of your Wi-Fi stuff and they don't care because it's using their Netgear to talk to the solar panels.
But don't their Netgear have to know
No.
her modem password?
Nope.
If I could interject for a moment, and I'm no expert on this, but some solar panel companies send their data up to a cell tower. They don't use the local Wi-Fi in your home.
Okay.
And it all depends on the company. Now, if this company that did Pat's added an extender to connect to her Wi-Fi to get back to the internet to report the solar data, then they obviously would need to know her network credentials to connect to her Wi-Fi.
Okay.
So those credentials, you mean my password?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably right that extender device is not connected by a wire. It's piggybacking on your existing Wi-Fi. If that's the case, then yes, they will need to know and reconfigure that device. So the new password, which again is going to defeat the purpose of you saying, I don't want them to have access to my Wi-Fi. I'm going to change the password, and that will do that, but then you won't get any data from the solar panel.
And I would make the point that you might want to check to see if you are getting data for your solar panels, because if their device has a red LED on it, it may not be working and sending them the data.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something. I have to give them a call anyway. So I'm going to be, well, actually, if they're getting the data, then I check on the computer. So basically,
You're good.
I'm good. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Don't mess with it. Don't change any passwords, and you're good.
Oh,
My solar panels are connected hardwired to my internet.
oh, not mine.
Stanley?
I have solar panels, and as I recall, I gave my Wi-Fi password to the solar panel. I did not feel concerned about my security. It's a access to my Wi-Fi channel, which goes out to the internet. Should I be concerned about my security by allowing what I consider a reputable company to have access to my internet? Is that a concern?
Well,
Only if they give that information to your next door neighbor.
Well, the next door neighbor, I guess my question is, if he has access to my internet, does he have access to everybody that's connected to my Wi-Fi?
Only if he has your password.
Right.
Which password for the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Then he has access to my computer also?
Yes and no. So by default, it depends on the networking configuration in your devices. So most of the time, default configuration in Windows does not allow access to your computer from your network. It is only to that computer. You can go in and turn it on so you can see the other devices in your network, and you can accept or reject information there as you need to. But if you're sharing, say, a printer across your network, or you're sharing files to a backup device that's on the network, then you have network and sharing turned on. And then you can set that up as complex as you want to say, I don't care, anybody can access it, or no, you have to give me a username and password to allow you to connect.
I'll defer to Saul. He's intimately familiar with my system. Saul, should I be concerned?
I wouldn't think so, Stan. You got one computer and you're not on a, you're not doing much in the way of sharing with other computing devices and so forth.
Thank you.
Fran,
So talking about Wi-Fi, in my office, when I go to connect, there's a 5G option and a 2.4 option.
Yep.
So can you explain the difference and which one should I choose?
So it's kind of like saying AM and FM. 5G is faster, but it doesn't go as far. The 2G or the 2.4 gigahertz is the slower speed, but it goes through more walls.
Okay.
So if you get a good connection on 5G, go for it. I would have you set up both connections in your device, cell phone, laptop, whatever, and then let the computer choose and say, I'm going to go with this one instead of that one because.
Well, how do they choose? I thought we have to select it because when you go to sign in, they say select an internet option.
When you connect to the wireless, one of the options in the wireless configurations is to automatically connect. So let's say you have Wi-Fi at home. When you walk in, it says, oops, I see home Wi-Fi, I'm connecting. Then when you go back to the office, the same way, automatically connect.
Okay, I usually do that actually. Okay,
You're fine.
thanks.
any more hands?
Oh, not a
It's
real.
only 11:20, my goodness.
Well, what they told me about the 2.4 and the 5G was that when we were doing speed tests, I think here or in the class, and the speed test was really good with the 5G. It was horrible with the 2.4G.
Well, yeah.
But the computer is too far away for me to use
Exactly.
the 5G. So
Exactly.
I have to use the other one.
Well, again, I would, in your devices, get close enough to the source so that you get connected to either one, then let the device choose whichever one it can connect to. Because if it's got 5G available, it will use it. If it doesn't have 5G available, then it'll go down to the next one down.
Well, I put a Wi-Fi extender in my living room and it's supposedly working, but yeah, that's still, shouldn't that help? Because it basically doesn't. It always goes back to the 2.4. I pick the 5, it goes back to the 2.4. Any suggestions on that?
Well, I don't know anything about the particular device that you have there. But again, it has to get, if it's just a straight plug in the wall device, no wire to it, then it has to find a Wi-Fi signal to connect to. And if you're connecting up with your 2.4 gigahertz to that device, because that's all it can connect to, then it's not going to give you much of speed advantage from the connection from that device to your cell phone. You can connect at 5G, gets close, but it's not going to give you any more speed because you're limited by the connection to that device. is the best is to try to put those devices halfway between where it is your source and where you are trying to use it. The other recommendation is to put that device as high in the room as you can, because there's fewer things blocking it, the higher if it was on the top of a bookshelf versus on the floor.
Oh, okay, good point.
So
Okay.
Pat, do you have two extenders, one for your panels and another one?
Well, yeah, I have one for the panels. They just put that one in, but but AT&T, and I paid for that one too. You know, sent me this one here because I had such lousy, Wi-Fi here.
Yeah.
But it hasn't, I don't think it's been that great, because every time I go to Wi-Fi 5, it pops back to the 2.4. But
So
actually, they were saying that it wasn't so much the Wi-Fi speed and all that, but the processing speed of the computer now. So now we're worried about that particular speed. And I haven't gotten into that.
Well, it depends on where you've plugged that in the room. So in other words, if you plugged it into the outlet that's the furthest away from where your base AT&T device is, I would put it in the room closer, if you can, to the modem, the AT&T device, because then you, instead of having to stretch across the room. Now, across an open room is not a big thing, but walls do make a big difference. And especially if on the other side of the wall is a washing machine or a dryer or a refrigerator, that's a big hunk of metal that's in between.
No, it's just the living room to the upstairs and it's in a room upstairs with a lot of computer equipment. That's all.
Put it higher in the room if you can.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Mr. Wakely.
I'll let Barbara talk first. Barbara?
Okay, this is the first I've heard of a Wi-Fi extender. Exactly what are they and what do they do?
Well,
Go ahead, Ross.
the ones that I use, and there's a variation of them. I use one from a company called TP-Link. I buy them from Amazon. They're about $100. They just plug into the wall, have antennas that come up on there, and then has a button that you push, and you push that button, and then it finds the Wi-Fi signals that are there in the house, and then is able to grab a hold of that and make that signal stronger. Now, there are other devices that you extend by wire. So if you would have a wired network, you would run the wire to another room, then plug the extender. It's called a wireless access point is the other type that you would plug in, and that gets its signal through the wire, and that would be faster and better, but that requires that you run a wire from your modem to that device. The wireless ones work pretty well for me. The TP-Link brand I like.
Okay.
May I leap in here and answer Barbara's question? I think a little simpler. I'll give you an example. I have a modem and a router in my study when I'm in Hawaii. I also have a television set in the family room, which is 50 feet away. I stream things to that television set that come through the internet. And when I first set that up, I'd be watching something that was streaming from the internet, like a streaming movie, and I would get the hourglass figure, which meant that I wasn't getting the transmission of the movie as fast as the movie was changing. I bought one of these extenders. It is simply a simple box with a two-prong plug out of the back of it. I plugged that into an outlet that was halfway between my study and my television set, and all of a sudden I'm not getting that hourglass anymore because the box was picking up the signal from my study and retransmitting it from there to my television set, which was about half the distance. and it solved my problem. It picked up the signal from the study and retransmitted it so that it could be picked up by the television set in real time. That answer your
Yeah.
question, Barbara?
Yeah, we just ran a direct line across to the television.
Yeah, that's even better. You just,
It's quite a while, it's quite a distance, but it works.
of course, because it's wired, it's hardwired.
Right, okay.
The
Okay.
other is for wireless, where
Right,
it's a radio signal equivalent.
right.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I have had extenders, mainly Netgear extenders, but I find that they only work with 2.4G. They don't work with my 5G. However, I did install another system that does use the 5G, and it's much superior to the Netgear. However, it's more expensive.
So you kind of get what you pay for.
Yes.
Hmm. So what was that brand? What, well, do you know?
It's made by Amazon and it's called Eero, E-E-R-O. I think I paid $160 for one transmitter and 2 receivers. But it works great. I get high-speed connection way across the house from one end to the other using it.
Oh, okay.
Will, you still have your hand up?
Oh, yeah, I had a cell phone question, unless other people have questions about computers. Why don't we defer to Willie?
I just wanted to see if Ross had a comment on mesh networks.
That's what this is. That's what mine is a mesh.
Okay, because that's the current state of the art.
Well, a mesh then allows you to have multiple places that are providing Wi-Fi, and instead of just having a single point with an access point or the TP-Link device like I mentioned. But yeah, I would kind of recommend that you try to get it all from the same company. So if you like Netgear, then get your Netgear mesh router and then the devices from Netgear to get them to all play nice with each other.
Would you say again what a mesh system is?
So a mesh it has multiple access point devices. You have one master, and then you have a number 2, 3, 5 slaves that then, so let's say you are in a campus environment, a hotel environment, and you need to provide Wi-Fi through the whole environment that's there. Then you would use a mesh configuration. And there are devices that are specifically designed as mesh, and you can add additional connections to that. And they're either wired or wireless, depending on what ones you buy.
Yeah, I would recommend this EERO system from Amazon. I found that it works great. I get a very high-speed connection using it.
Is that a mesh, Will?
It is a mesh, yes. I have one transmitter and 2 receivers.
Okay.
Okay,
And I get like 200 megabit transmission speed through it. Okay, let me ask my question about cell phone. When I click on messages, I only get one, although I may have multiple messages on my cell phone, only one comes up, and I don't know how to delete that one. I'm sure there's an easy way to do it. I thought I could just swipe it off the screen, but it doesn't want to do that.
Little dots.
Usually as soon as you look at the message and then you go back and look at your place that it notified you, it automatically disengages. So after you look at a message.
It doesn't. That message comes up, but not the multiple messages. It just that one single message comes up, even though I have multiple messages.
So
Will, is that a voicemail message or a text message?
A text message.
Okay, Will, so if you open up that message on the upper right-hand side, I think you'll see 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, one of the options halfway down the list is delete.
Okay, I think I tried that and I didn't see delete. I finally, I don't know, it just didn't seem simple enough to just delete a message. I thought it'd be a lot easier, but
Why do you want to delete it?
because I don't want to see it anymore.
Don't open it.
Well, I don't know what's in it unless I open it, do I?
No, well, you don't have to open it up because it'll only show you that your new messages, when you go to messages, it'll only show you the ones that are bold are new. The ones that are
No.
not bold are, they're in the list. I agree with you, but there's a difference in the appearance of the message.
Unfortunately, if I have multiple messages, when I click on message, only one comes up. The whole
That's
list
correct.
does not come up.
Just like when you were in email, when you click on email, one message, that email comes up and then you deal with that email and do what you want. Go back to your master list of the inbox and then you see your other messages that are there. Unless you go in and delete it, like I mentioned, and when the three dots on the upper right-hand side on an Android phone, then it should remove that message.
It used to be when I opened messages, I would get a list of all the messages that I had, and then I would select the one I want to see.
Right.
In this case, when I open messages, only one message shows, not the entire list.
That message is coming from one person or place, and you can't see the other messages until you open them, and that'll bring it in from a different location.
Yeah, but I understand what Will's saying. I always see about 5 messages when I just go to my home page and click messages. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the numbers they came from, and I can select one and then read it, all of it.
Right.
Yeah,
I can go to
unfortunately,
the
that doesn't
three-
happen with mine. I only get one message that shows.
Yeah, I understand.
I think
Maybe there's a setting somewhere that you
No.
can tell it to come up with all them.
I think what it is that you have that particular message open. So you need to close that message, go back to the list.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
There, just when you're looking around for this, Will, when I get to my page that shows all the messages, I have a box there that says all. And the other thing it says now, instead of showing 5 messages, it shows at the top, it says 11 unread messages.
There you go.
And if I then press view under that, I get 5 messages. I think something is set differently.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Yeah. Okay.
Look for the 3 dots in the upper right corner.
Yeah, I've looked at those. Yeah.
1 or more messages, and make sure you examine each of the options under those 3 dots.
It just seems very cumbersome to have to delete a message by going through 3 or 4 different things. Okay, Jim, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jim Fugashi. Jim?
Yes, I'm finally going to be getting out of the house, and I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be going to Australia and New Zealand, and I think I would like to try to join the meeting from places there and in between. Is there anything that I need to know about in order to join the meeting from, say, a foreign country? That would be helpful. I'm going to cross the international date line, so that's going to be a little bit challenging also. And the time zones, and I'll have to figure all that out. But I just had the thought now. I think I would like to try to join the meeting while I'm away.
I think if you have the link and you have internet service wherever you are, you should just be able to click on the link.
Wi-Fi internet.
Yeah, Wi-Fi internet.
So wherever you're staying, if you have Wi-Fi there, once you're connected to Wi-Fi, you're on the internet. It doesn't matter if you're next door or around the world, you're connected to the internet and you just do exactly the same thing. Now, if you go to a country like mainland China, they won't let you connect. you have to use a VPN to connect there. They block a lot of places, but you can get around it with a VPN software on your phone. But Australia shouldn't be an issue.
All right, thank you.
We'll look forward to, when are you going to be there, Jim?
I'm leaving October 2nd, and my return date is still open, so I'm probably going to be gone around 60 days.
Hey,
So,
good.
You're going to,
looking forward to that.
we may be flying next to each other. I'm moving back to Hawaii about that time.
Well, you may fly over me. I'll be on a cruise ship.
Oh,
Oh, very good.
That's
Enjoy.
good.
Yeah, enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds wonderful. Well, did you win the sweepstakes?
No, it's a 20th anniversary for my wife and I, and we decided to take an extended trip.
Good.
That is
What,
great.
Thank you.
We did that on our 20th, and we took the whole tribe of family with us. That was an experience.
yeah, we did
can
the
imagine.
Millennial Cruise and went to Australia and New Zealand. It was great. And we had since we crossed the date line at New Year's, we had 2 New Year's celebrations, which is one too many.
You're going to cross the equator sometime, Jim, right?
Yes.
Well, that can be painful.
I'm going to lose a day, I guess.
What ship line are you using?
The Holland America on one leg to Australia, and then Celebrity from Australia to circumnavigate New Zealand.
Oh, great. You'll enjoy it.
Thank you.
We've enjoyed Holland America
Yeah.
several times.
Yeah, I think we have done a bit of cruising before, and the last time we cruised, we got an award and a medal for having been on the sea for over 100 days. So we have done some cruising.
You sure have.
Our Millennial Cruise was on Symphony and we got spoiled.
It's easy to get spoiled on a cruise ship.
It certainly is.
Okay, everybody. I don't see any more hands. Anybody have something more they want to talk about? Yes, Barbara.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my phone now. When someone sends me a photograph in a message, how do I transfer that over to my Google Photos file? I don't want to delete the message because I'm afraid I'll delete the photo.
So you need to save the photo to you. Well, is it in a text message?
It's in a text message.
Okay, can you share that text message to an email
I don't know.
with the 3 little dots, with a V shape to the
Yeah,
pointing to the right?
Little dots, where are we? Yeah.
And you can share it to an email and get it on your computer. I find it's easier to do those types of things on the computer than on the phone.
computer. Yeah. Okay, I'll play with it.
Yeah, when I take a picture on my cell phone, the way I get to use it and send it and share it with friends and show it to people is always find the little icon that indicates share, which is sort of like a triangle pointed to the left.
Yes.
Pulling options.
And when you find that, one of the options is send by email. And if you click on that send by email, quite often it will come up with your email address, or at least if you've done it once, maybe the first time you have to type the whole email address in.
Right.
Done it once, you can later share anything to that email address.
Okay.
Barbara,
It speeds up the whole process.
Okay.
Barbara, I've discovered that if I open the photo so I can see the photo and right click on it, one of the selections there is save image to. And when I click that, it takes me to the folder where my pictures are, and I just put it into the folder, name it, put it in another
Will,
folder.
how do you right click on a smartphone?
This is on a smartphone. Sorry about that. I was talking about a computer.
Well, that's what we talked about to begin with, is to get it into the computer. There's all
Yeah,
kinds of ways
okay.
you can do it once you get it in the computer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay.
can't you just kind of hold down on the picture and then the menu pops up and then you just put it
Yeah.
where you want?
That's on an Apple phone.
yeah,
Not
I'm
an
on an
Android.
Android.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm on an Android and I still say, look for the share symbol.
Yes.
nearby share.
I got a nod of the head from Ross.
Yeah.
That's a good sign for me. Maybe it's time
Okay.
to quit for the week.
AT&T Cloud, it says. Okay. Okay, I'll play with
Oh,
it.
Stanley has his hand up. Yes, sir, Stanley. And is muted.
And he's still muted.
Dan,
There you go.
I'm sorry. Shout out to Joan about Fiona and coming relatively close to her. I would share my screen and show you what I see in the path, if I may.
sure.
Joan is about roughly here on the edge of New Brunswick. Is that
Oh.
correct, Joan?
Yes, it is, Stan.
How's the weather out there?
Actually, actually, Fran and I both are on the western side of the province. And here, it's basically just wind. We haven't had any rain or wind, and the power hasn't gone off. But if you go to the eastern side of the province, and Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland, they're the ones that are getting the full impact of it all. And, trees down. Most of the province of Prince Edward Island doesn't have power. And much of Nova Scotia doesn't have power. And they won't let the people go out to fix it because they can't go out if it's over 80 kilometers an hour, and which is around 50 miles an hour. And so we're very lucky, those of us on the western part of the province or the middle to the west.
Okay, thank you.
Let me, from 30 years in the Navy, let me echo what she just said. The right side of a hurricane that is moving forward is a dangerous side because the speed of the winds running in a circle has the speed of the forward motion of the entire system added to it. On the left side, the speed of the circle has the forward motion subtracted from it. So that's called the safe semicircle.
Is it spinning clockwise or counterclockwise?
Hurricanes in the northern hemisphere spin counterclockwise, and so do typhoons. I think in the southern hemisphere, they spin clockwise.
Okay, I was thinking Coriolis would make it spin clockwise.
Nope.
No.
Nope, they are low pressure systems and spin counterclockwise. Okay, everybody.
That's one thing they said this time. There's never the pressure has never been this low ever before.
Yeah, it's the lowest pressure storm that has ever made landfall in Canada, anywhere. All right, all. I'm about ready to end. Anybody want to stay on here? I can make you a host.
Make me a host. I'll stay on until everyone's gone.
Yeah, you have said that you would do that before. Hold on a minute. Where are you?
Well, I'm leaving, having lunch.
Bye-bye, Barbara.
Have a good week.
Bye-bye, all.
Bye-bye,
See you
all.
next
Make co-host. There we go. All right, now I'm going to leave the meeting and assign and leave.